Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crash Bandicoot playthrough on PlayStation 4. Possibly in a year or so, also on PC. Who knows? It's
Was
time
that
to
like
play...
confirmed, or is that just a rumor? Well, I know it's not officially confirmed,
but you know, it's Activision, so...
Oh yeah, they want to get it out on as many things as possible, you're right.
Yeah.
I know it makes the most sense for a Crash revival to happen on a Sony console. At the same time, Crash has been multi-platform for so many years that at this point I just want more people to play Crash so that we can get a revival of Crash.
Well, this one makes a bit more sense because it's the remakes of the first three, which were Sony exclusives.
Yeah, but at the same time, when the HD remakes of like Devil May Cry, well, not remakes, but remasters, but when the HD remasters of like Devil May Cry and other previously Sony exclusive franchises came out, they didn't limit them to just those consoles either.
Yeah, same could be said for Metal Gear Solid and all that
It doesn't seem that Sony has a lot of exclusive franchises all that much anymore.
No, they do.
Or at least exclusive faces like Crash. Other than the only one I can think of anymore is like an exclusive, like recognizable character from Sony is like Kratos, and that's about
Ratchet
it.
and Clank, but they kind of screwed the pooch with that. But yeah, we're doing Castle Machinery the right way, and as I said earlier in the playthrough, for those of you who skipped ahead for some reason, I didn't show off the gem path because I'm saving that for after Stormy Ascent, when I'll actually need all those lives. Ugh. By the way, even though there's nothing about those spinny metal robot things to make you think that you can't jump on them, you can't jump on them, so don't try. Now you know.
It's a very weird thing. The third dimension.
Woo. Actually, a lot of the levels at the end game portion of Crash Bandicoot are side-scrolling levels.
Yeah, I think the lab is the last 3D adventure you have.
Yeah.
Well, it's the last level, so...
It's a strange balance, but I kind of understand why they did it, because they very noticeably let up on the challenge in the 3D sections, because at this point they had to account for the fact that most of their players did not have a feel for how to move in 3 dimensions efficiently.
Which I know sounds so weird in today's day and age where 3D is so apparent, but it's like it really was a different time back then, a shift. Because up until the mid-90s, yeah, there were only 2 dimensions to consider.
In the third dimension!
Oh, I just barely missed that thing. Ugh.
You know what, and looking back in Crash's case, I know it wouldn't be that much of a difference because, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're traveling in a linear hallway with Crash, the difference is holding up or down rather than left or right.
Yeah. And it's still like, it was still innovative in the sense that it is actually still a 3D game as opposed to bug. I'm gonna have to get a Saturn so I can record that game. Because it's...
Oh, okay. You were talking about the actual game bug. I thought you just got distracted for a second by the mosquito.
No. The Sega Saturn platformer Bug. And its sequel, Bug 2. That's Bug T-O-O-O, as opposed to the number
Bug
2.
and its sequel, Bugger.
You see, so many sequels that try to be clever with their second name, like with their sequel name, end up kind of screwing themselves over, because then what would you do for the third game if there was a Bug 3, you know? There's no cute way to do that. Like, it happened with Aliens, because it's like, oh, Aliens, what do we call the third movie?
Alien Cubed.
3.
Yeah. No, Alien Cubed, man.
Yeah. And so that's why Splatoon is a stupid name, because
Splatoon is a work of art, excuse you.
No, because when they make Splatoon 3, it would look stupid in comparison. So yeah.
No, it didn't be Splatoon.
No, it wouldn't.
How about that Drive 3-er?
Fan 4 stick, anybody? V3-er? It's always dumb, every time. Don't do it, ever. Thank you.
Ted with the 3.
Oh, who let there be...
Well, there are 2 Ted movies, yeah.
Who let there be 2 more of me? And that was a terrible idea, whoever did that.
Anyway, it's time to face off against Dr. Neo Cortex's discount sidekick. I kind of feel bad for Brio. He's just sort of abandoned by Cortex after this.
My name sounds like a fetus.
What? Why do they? What's the reason for why he doesn't work with Cortex anymore after the first game?
Because he ditched him.
Because after Cortex disappeared, and Brio rediscovered his first love, tending bar.
Wait.
You know, I could see this guy as a bartender. No, but like the end-game reason is because he was angry at Cortex for abandoning him and he decided to
Well,
work
I don't
against
know.
him.
Crash kind of knocked him off of a blimp, so like, you know, I can kind of cut him.
Well, no, Brio got angry at Cortex for abandoning him.
Yeah, that's what I said. You know, Cortex kind of got knocked off of a cliff.
Yeah,
so...
but Cortex made no attempt to link back up with Brio. He just hooked up with Engine, and, well, they had their little lover spat, and that was the plot of Crash 2.
Oh, okay. And then he just stopped being evil for some reason? Okay.
Well, it's never... I wouldn't say Brio is not evil anymore. You still wind up fighting him again in Twinsanity. There's like an Brio Entropy tag team boss battle in Twinsanity. And I think Brio is also an enemy of yours in Mind Over Mutant. Anyway, I'm gonna screw this up, spoiler alert, but the trick
The hitboxes on this guy is weird.
No, you just need to play a game of chicken with him. As long as he gets close, you'll always hit him in the head.
They give you a little leeway with it, but there are times where, yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
Yep.
because you jump too soon. He's too far away.
On the last hit, too, and we're going to have to sit through the whole thing again, aren't we?
Yeah, if you hit him too low, which will happen if he's too far away, you wind up hitting him too low to actually bonk him on the head.
Yeah, but it's just again a case comparing it to the first game.
It was easier to judge
easier
little
to
things
do.
like that in the original game, in part because the simpler graphics actually lended themselves to depth perception a little bit better. If that
And
makes
hit
any
detection.
sense. Well, hit detection is another thing, but it's just easier to judge depth when the shapes are simpler, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, because another thing that I bring up in comparison to the original games was it was easier to time your jumps or place your jumps because of how cartoony Crash's drop shadow was in the original games. It was pretty much just a black shadow. You know, it's not realistic at all, but it was there to help you gauge your jumps. In this game, they try to have it both ways. They give Crash a realistic shadow pretty much at all times, except for like the high road level or road to nowhere. Where it's back to being
The
a circle
reason
for
he
the
has
most
a
part.
circular shadow in the high road is because even in the original game, you could still sort of see a circular drop shadow over the pit when you were jumping.
Well, he always had a circular drop shadow. I think every
Yeah.
level in the original games,
It's
yeah.
just you could see that over the pit, but when he's over a plank or something, he still has the realistic drop shadow.
Yeah.
The realistic drop shadow is a thing from Crash 3, actually. Like, I think possibly Crash 2 had one. I don't remember exactly, but I know in Crash 3
I'll
he
have
had a
to go back
realistic
and
shadow.
check.
I like
But-
how the name next to the Hulk embryo is just question mark exclamation point question.
Yeah. In the original game, Embryo just had one long health bar and would turn into the Hulk Beast when he got down to 3 hits. But in the remake, they actually had him change health bars at that point. Actually, a rare case of where the game actually makes something more surprising than it used to be by changing something rather than making it something that you would have had to figure out yourself in the past, but no longer have to. Huh. So yeah, there goes Embryo.
And we'll never see him again.
Well, we'll see him one more time, because there's one more Embryo bonus stage after this. Thanks to Stormy Ascent.
And there it is.
Before we get to that, we need to play The Lab. What is The Lab,
Yeah,
you
so-
ask? The Lab is the final stage of the original game. Anyway, before I went into The Lab, I actually went and played Insanity Beach to get myself up to level 2 Aku Aku. This turned out to be a waste of time, which is why I cut it out. Because I didn't need these masks. As it happened, this run of the lab was perfect. Absolutely flawless. Even the Tana bonus stage gave me no trouble. I was...
Coco, get out to my laboratory!
I was freaking bowled over by this, man. But this level has so much stuff that will dick you over on your first blind playthrough. It is, first of all, the only 3D level where you go up against the Cortex minions that throw vials at you. It's also the only instance where the Cortex minions manually aim their vials directly at you instead of throwing them at a specific spot. So,
Dick move
when
number
you see,
3.
yeah, when you see that enemy, your instinct is to stop, wait, and see where they throw the vial. Guess what happens when you do that? Yep. The other thing that's kind of annoying about this stage is the Tana bonus stage itself. The very first thing that happens in this Tana bonus stage is this arrow box challenge that's so super precise. The annoying thing about this is that if you die in the bonus stage, you lose your Aku Aku mask. So even though you can retry the Tana bonus stage as many times as you like, the bonus stage is a bit of a roadblock for you if you're trying to take advantage of Aku Aku. Why can't I get this? I can't.
It's in the foreground.
I can't even spin that apple. That's impressive. But I don't care enough to give it a sound of silence moment, so let's just move on.
But I thought it was Apple-chan, Lewis.
Yeah, it's like you're already cheating on him.
Well, why would I need Apple-chan when I've got Oh, never mind. Apple-chan, come back to me.
Too late.
You've taken advantage of me one too many times, Lewis.
I have now eaten apple.
Possibly because they know that the lab is a hard level, they put the Tana bonus stage really early on. And yeah, these enemies are that kind of enemy. I hate these guys.
So is this one of the stages with a colored gem?
Yes.
So if you die, you have to redo the bonus stage again, then?
Yes.
Yep.
Alright.
The jumping blobs are annoying, but they're actually probably the easiest thing to time your way around in this level. That's the only time one of those enemies ever appears in a goddamn 3D section in this game.
They changed the color of them too. They're green here. They were yellow in the original game. They also didn't have faces.
Huh. Oh yeah, that's right. They changed the color of the blobs in the original one so that you knew that they weren't the same as the ones that Brio was using, but they just didn't.
Yeah.
They just didn't do that in this version of the game. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's interesting that they have faces now. But just wait for it to land and jump over it the moment it does. Don't even bother trying to kill it. There's no reason to. Yeah.
The electric scientists are some of my least favorite enemies in the entire series, I would say.
Yeah. They're kind of annoying. Yeah, I have no idea when that thing is going to open, so I just hang right.
Are you
Land in the
supposed to
background.
stay? Are you supposed to stay in the background to dodge that, or
Yeah, it's an intentional design element. It's also
And-
it's also made that way to save your bacon a lot in the darkness levels as well. Yep.
Good on you, Lewis, for doing this first try.
Well, it wasn't my first try, but it was the first try after
As
going.
far as we no, shut up.
It was the
This
first
is
try
your first
after
try.
going to get the Aku Aku masks. It was actually my second try. Yeah, I think it was my second try total.
But as far as we know, it was your first try. All those transitions that we saw, just you manipulating the space-time continuum.
oh, if he can manipulate the space-time continuum, what's he doing with us?
Well, we can. You can't.
Oh, wait, what?
You need one more year.
One more year? I've been here as long as you guys have, pretty much, sort of.
No, you haven't.
What? It's a 7-year perk or something like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I ran all the way back to Jaws of Darkness before realizing, wait, there's a warp point to Insanity Beach. Why am I going the long way? Because I had installed this DLC literally on the same session I recorded the end of the game, so I had completely forgotten that the Insanity Beach warp point was there. One thing that I didn't catch on recording, because the game only plays it for you once, is when you download the DLC for the first time and start up the game, Cortex's castle actually grows an extra floor at the top to fit the Stormy Ascent buttons. Like,
Which is nice. I like that detail.
yeah, the castle just sort of grows an extra layer to it. You don't see that extra layer in the Great Hall ending, though, which is odd.
Which makes me think, like, if later levels are implemented, what will they do to accommodate the changes on the island?
Who knows? I mean, for something like Acid Rain, they'll probably just have the map marker extend out to a random point on the third island. So,
Now, the Stormy Ascent DLC is only free up until a certain time, isn't it?
yeah, it's exactly 1 month, and then it's $3.
For one
Oops.
level, that seems a little steep for me. I don't know.
It's a long level.
Yeah, but it's still only one level, though, is the thing. Like, there's, 28 levels in the game? Like, if you were to do that by value, then
Dude.
they're saying that this one level is worth 1/10 of the content of the entire package.
Yeah, but you know what they also do that for? Costume packs.
Oh,
All the
costume packs
goddamn time.
costume packs are a ripoff every single time, but like if it were $1, I wouldn't really be whining, or even if it were $2, but $3 seems a little much to me. I don't know.
I disagree. I think it's worth the price, but I also really liked Stormy Ascent, so Irrelevant at this point in time, although it might be relevant by the time this goes up.
How long is it free?
Oh, exactly
Up
1
until
month.
the middle of August.
Gotcha. And instead of a path of a bunch of yellow gems, it's just one platform that goes 5 feet.
Yeah, which is a hell of a lot less awkward and doesn't block you from getting into the actual exit.
But if you're going back to the Great Gate after getting the yellow gem, what are you not going there for except for 100% completion?
Just to play the level, who knows?
Nah.
What, you never booted up an old save file just to play an old favorite again?
Not Crash 1. Crash 1, I always start a fresh file on. So.
Yeah, you're right. There aren't very many old favorites in this game.
The lab is a masterpiece, said no one.
Said no one ever. But, this is the Great Gates gem path, which, unlike a lot of the gem paths we've seen, is an actually really long chunk of level with really unique challenges in it.
The game assumes you cleared the lab at this point, so they ramped up the difficulty considerably.
How dare they assume you beat the level that you need to beat in order to unlock this. Ugh.
But it's also like in-game wise, you have to question the architect of this place. Is like, why don't you just, if you guys don't want anybody intruding on your pathway, why don't you just take the top path and put it in the bottom path?
They're not very smart.
Now, if you do this the opposite way from what I did, destroy the arrow box and then bounce off the regular box to
out of
get
here,
back
you can
here,
skip this entirely.
yeah, you can skip this entirely. I didn't do that because I've never played this section before and I was going blind. And I kind of just assumed that the back area would be a little nook with maybe a life or a box in it. I didn't expect to actually be able to skip a large chunk of the level. So that was my bad.
Well, I made the same mistake on my playthrough, and I've been playing this game for years.
Ooh.
Now you got a platform. Oh no.
These shields
What the-
people annoy me.
He just straight up ignored you.
Well, yeah, some of them just sort of stop 2/3 of the way across their platform and pace back and forth along part of it, presumably because the developers realized you didn't see them coming, and if you jumped onto that platform without seeing them coming, well, they're probably going to dick you over. So they gave you a little safety cushion there. But that also means if you actually do blunder into them, you're so far into the platform that you'll fall into the pit, not onto the platform across the pit.
You know, I find it very interesting that the second island has this ginormous tree.
Huh.
And to my knowledge, there is no level in the game where you're climbing a giant tree, is there?
Not that I can think of, no. Huh.
No, I'm thinking back, no. There's... It's so wild, 'cause it's such a blatant set piece.
Might have been a planned level at some point.
DLC level, oh my god.
No, John, it's lost treasures. That means they can't make new levels. That's ruining the integrity of the collection. I want my money back.
Well, when it comes to cut levels, only Stormy Ascent and the Beta Sunset Vista were in any sort of completed state.
Yeah. Because the mountain level was a mess.
Are they, like, in the game, but only accessible via hacking or something like that?
Well, there is a trick that they kept the stuff in the game because removing it would have required more quality assurance. But there is a trick with the disk data in the original game that cuts down on load times. They filled all the excess space on the CD with junk data, just random numbers and stuff, in order to push the game data to the outside of the disk that spins faster.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that.
It's a basic trick, but it really works.
Oh.
You know what also worked? These commercials in Japan.
Well, how well did Crash do in Japan?
Surprisingly well, actually.
Okay, then, yeah, maybe it did work. Because I know the part's already over, and we should probably stop talking, but I know normally it takes a bit for Japanese audiences to kind of take to Western properties, so, you know, it's not a small feat to have even a decent amount of success in Japan for Crash, I would say.
昨日発見されたリンゴの食べかすで町は混乱しています。びっくりです。
その大きな歯型の特徴から私が思うに人間じゃないですね。捜査線上に一人の人物が浮かび上がった。こちらでも地元のダイバーが妙な動物を目撃しています。はっきりとは分かりませんが何かマシンに乗ってたんです。こんな感じかな、こうかな。ここはロスから20キロほど行ったところです。昨日の夜いたずらされちゃってひどいよ、本当にひどいよ。
なんなのこれ。
全然違うよ。
そしてバイクで走り去ったという。こちら北京では勇敢にも捕まえようとした人がいます。
食べられるかななんて。
これがその時取れた毛である。さらに大量のお土産ボールペンも見つかっているが真相は明らかではない。今度は世界だ。クラッシュバンディクー3。
こちらドーハでもクラッシュらしきものを見たということで。プレイステーション